Welcome back to Poor Man Printing, guys. And today we're going to hear from Mr. ALFRED KAHN compare VeVe to Pokemon. I've told you when ALFRED KAHN speaks, you need to listen. This is pretty huge. When you're taking a product like Pokemon, as big as Pokemon is, and comparing it to VeVe, yeah, you know which way we going, guys. So let's go ahead and get straight into it.
Al, a little earlier, you alluded to Cabbage Patch Kids and the way that our community operates. They see everything that gets posted. So they saw in your LinkedIn a while ago that you were comparing the early success of VeVe to the early successes you saw with Pokemon and Cabbage Patch Kids. Do you want to dive into that a little bit more? What is it that you've seen so far with VeVe that reminds you of those properties? And what potential do you think that this platform has to really disrupt this industry?
Well, I think there's funny is I gave that a lot of thought because I think it's a great question. All three of those properties have a lot in common. The initial reaction upon presentation was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, trust me, I couldn't give away Pokemon. No one wanted it. No one. When I took Cabbage Patch Kids to Toys R Us, the president of Toys R Us says, "You mean to tell me you're going to give us one-of-a-kind dolls, and if I want to order more blondes, I can't order the blondes?" I said, "Right. Every time you get a shipment, it'll be a new shipment of doll." Well, we thought we were out of our mind. I think some of the meetings that David and Dan and I walked out of, I think that was some of the questions that were, how crazy were we? But so I think that had some of a synergy there. But the other thing too, when we started to test some of this stuff, and when we have ways of testing, doing a market test, which with VeVe, of course, we did a market test. Obviously, David and Dan did a closed share of these properties so people could look at it. But when we started showing people a Pokemon trailer, this is crazy stuff. I couldn't get the television show on the air. No one wanted it. So I decided I was going.
Can you imagine one of the biggest shows in history and these people are like, nah, we don't want it. It doesn't fit our need. I bet you they slapping themselves in the face right now and say, oh my God, we made the biggest mistake in history.
I'm going to syndicate it myself because I had a syndication company. So I syndicated it in 200 markets at 6 o'clock in the morning, just like we're doing here. David and Dan at 6 o'clock, whatever time it is there. That's the worst time you could possibly put a kid show on. I mean, who's up there at 6 o'clock in the morning? After about 2 weeks, we started getting calls from the stations saying that more kids are watching this show at 6 o'clock in the morning than are watching the block that comes on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is their key block. So I said right away, something's cooking here. Something is happening. We ran a little ad in Macy's for Cabbage Patch Kids after putting up a window of a display that replicated Babyland General Hospital, I get a call from the buyer. They ran an ad on Sunday, on Macy's, and I got a call Monday morning, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not good. What's he calling me? Al, we got a real problem. We sold $500 the first day, and we have another 1,000 rain checks. And this is in Macy's, which is not Toys R Us. So we knew right away something had hit a nerve. Well, we knew right away with Pokemon that something had hit a nerve with that television show. We knew that VeVe had hit a nerve because the number of, you read the social media posts about it, and you read the fact when they first started doing some drops, that it would go in literally, as David said, it could go in a minute, it could go in less than a minute. So we knew there was something really elegant about that. So when I posted, I felt there was a great synergy between the two of them. The three of them is because they all were showing this extraordinary degree of success, not in the numbers, but just in the intensity of the demand, right? The intensity of people who got interested in Pokemon, got interested in VeVe, got interested in Cabbage Patch Kids was immense. And I think we're seeing the same thing, happen now.
If that don't make you bullish on VeVe, I don't know what will. I mean, the man is comparing Pokemon, Cabbage Patch Kids to VeVe. This is insane, guys. Like, we could be making history right now and don't even know it. That's usually what happens. Look at Bitcoin. The story of this guy who bought pizza. He sold 5,000 Bitcoin to get 2 pizzas delivered to him. And that would have been worth, like, I don't know, $60 million right now or something like that. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on it. But I believe right now we are making history with VeVe, and we don't even know it. Well, some of us know it, but a lot of other people don't know it. This is insane crazy. You know, I mean, I really don't know how to explain it. You know, I wish I could go back in the future, a year later from now, and actually see what happened. Maybe I'll just get in my DeLorean and just go ahead and go about a year in the future and see what happened to VeVe. I'm just saying, when this man talks, I listen. I mean, he is a freaking legend. We all know this, and he's on VeVe.
So that's the reason why I posted. And let me tell you a story. I'll give you a little. We are now involved with Cabbage Patch again. Not that David is, but I'm working on it. You follow? But we're looking at Cabbage Patch Kids for other things as well. But certainly one of them is what we're talking about here. So there's.
Did he just say that they was working on Cabbage Patch Kids again? I'll tell you right now, we're gonna see Cabbage Patch on VeVe, and that's gonna be insane. I don't know how old y'all are, but I remember Cabbage Patch Kids. You know, let's see, I'm 21, so yeah, I remember Cabbage Patch Kids. I remember all the good cartoons that used to come out. I don't know Pokemon that much, but I mean, evidently Pokemon is huge. I mean, you can go look at the money they brought in. But like, you got He-Man, you got all the other ones, Cabbage Patch Kids, you got Voltron. I mean, there's so many of them. But he just said that they're working on Cabbage Patch Kids. Now, I don't know, speculation, of course, but yeah, let's just keep listening.
There's a lot of, I think, synergy, and I think great things don't appear to be great right away. Because if they're so strange that people sort of, have a different, psyche about them. It's like, is this going to be any good? Is this not?
That's right.
Good? So I think these things have that similar quality. Ninja Turtles, same story. I mean, it's just you can go on and on and on of things that when people first saw them, they weren't so thrilled. But eventually, when you get them to the right audience, you get the right thing out there, and you get that audience responding, then it gives you a sense of where you are in terms of how this thing's going to go.
So we've got that intensity, when we first hit the market, but maybe David or Dan, do you think that people understand the value propositions of digital collectibles yet? I mean,
my damn dogs, I swear.
Or are we still too early for that? I know that our audience is quite concentrated and has come across with that NFT hype that we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the we really do have more and more of a mix of the NFT sort of fans, and then we every day we see more and more fans coming in from the more collectible side. I mean, at the end of the day, we are we're really haven't really created anything new. We're just basically tapping into something that really is fundamental with humans. We love to collect. Even I think I've mentioned before back in the caveman day, like you'd collect pretty stones or something that you'd find. So in a way, collecting is really inherent in in who we are as humans. So yeah, I really believe that as VeVe gets more exposure and we get more traction out there in probably the non-NFT market, that we're still really hitting a nerve of what people love, which is basically just collecting, but this is in a really cool new kind of way.
David, being so plugged into the physical world of collecting, are you finding that physical collectors are making the transition? How does that work in your network of people? Is the conversation already taking place?
That is a very good question. A very good question. Going to a collector. So let's see what he has to say.
Yeah. The major part about collecting is, but most people don't even know they collect things. But the truth is, everyone somewhere, somehow they collect shoes, handbags, any toy, things that you grew up that you remember. And one of the biggest trend that we have seen is that the property that we bring out, and I think Reese, Dan will agree even now, some of these property are retro property, like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters. The kids born, let's say in the 2000s, they probably won't get it because they've never seen it, they didn't grow up with it. But it's interesting how much, these, a lot of our audience are that age group, between the 22 to the 45, 48. They grew up with that. Now they have kids, they have family. So they're showing them, what they grew up with and try to get them involved, become a talking topic. There are two type of group, which is quite separated, and why we had built this app. We understand there's Instagram out there, which is all about, new latest hype. You got Twitter, the one line, message. You got LinkedIn for business people. You got Facebook for photos, for photo sharing, news sites. You got TikTok. A lot of these music people go on. But what we have found, a niche for VeVe, is that we cover the fandom. It's every year I go to Comic-Con, we have toy game shows everywhere I travel to as a store retailer, and I see fans dress up. They dress up to celebrate these events. They dress up as a Batman, Wonder Woman, they take a selfie, and on a Monday, they go back to work. People don't know, over the weekend they were dressing up their favorite cosplay characters. And why they want to do that is because it's deepen what they do, and they click all these. And the collectibles doesn't just really stop me and you. I mean, we have seen institutions, banks, these hedge funds are buying these comic books, first edition action comic. I know a couple of major bankers up in Asia, they buy these collectibles as another, tangible asset. And, speaking to some of my friends who's in the industry of collecting, I show them what we're doing, and they really do get it. They just didn't have an idea how will someone perceive that value and how that premium will come out. And I think with VeVe, as we go more and more in depth with this NFT industry we're in, and as long as we keep coming up with greater and better experience, that collectible will be more and more valuable and more collectibles. And this is one of the reasons why we stress is that we break them down in seasons. We have seen very early success of our season 1 collectibles. Some of these are fetching very high price in the resale market. And what we don't want is new collectors coming in feel they are missing out. They go, oh my God, this has been priced out, my range. So we break them down in piecemeal in a way. So if you halfway through season 2, you still have the ability to collect some of the commons. Unfortunately, everything's almost sold out. I mean, we have 2 or 3 other collectibles, and we just want them to start with one. And the idea is to get them in and give them that experience. A lot of them, as you've seen, when you have one collectible in the showroom, it's pretty empty, pretty lonely for some of these. And slowly you get collectors collecting them. There are collectors out there collecting edition numbers. There's collectors out there collecting seasons. There's collectors out there just collecting Batmans or their superhero, what they want. And there are collectors out there just want one of every VeVe collectibles. And we really believe that we have created nothing much new. What we have created is just that fandom, that experience of the new way of collecting. And this was touched on many times in our other podcasts with Dan covering, to our pitch to people. We haven't created anything very new. All these property live around us, and we just give them a very easy access through mobile.
I think the point that David raises, I think there's an interesting side dichotomy to this. When you think about it, and you go to Comic-Con, which always strikes me as the most unbelievable place where these people are carrying reams of products. I mean, but big products. David's probably there dragging out pictures and dragging out, other things. And I always thought to myself, where do you put all this stuff? Where do you put it? And now there's a way to put it someplace. Think about, it sounds crazy, but VeVe doesn't take up any physical space, right? So you could have a collection that is, thousands of products, and yet it's not forcing you to live in your family room because your bedroom is full of stuff. I mean, it sounds funny, but it also gives you the ability to take it with you. If you want to share that, and I'm sure down the road, I'm not going to give away any secrets, but under when you start seeing what else is being evolved, you're going to get inside that app. You're going to take your friends inside that app. You're going to be able to actually have experiences, which if you did that in a real environment, you'd have to have a theater or a warehouse. So I think that's a funny bit, but especially if you think about, Asia, Japan, China, big cities where they live in apartments. So I think there's a lot of this consolidation that you can get with VeVe and still not lose the essence of what you're trying to do.
David, you touched on just a moment.
So yeah, he's right. So I'm gonna touch base on the old cartoons and collectibles that people used to keep. Like before Disney Plus come out, my little girl was like, I don't know, 3, 4. She's like 17 now. I know she's growing up. I would go online and download all the old TV shows and cartoons that used to come on to let her see it, because I don't know what it is, but I believe the cartoons back in the day was a lot better than they are now. But it could be me. But like Pete's Dragon, I love that one. DuckTales, Tailspin, He-Man. There's a few more I can't think of right now, but I think that's great content, and I wanted to record that stuff so she could watch it and grow up with the same things that I grew up with. Because to me, I just think it's better. Alcon compares VeVe to Pokemon. If that don't make you bullish, like I said, I don't know what will. So yeah, until next time, guys. Poman Printing.